What's up, my friends? Today we are doing a video on 5 under the radar soft plastics that are relatively new to the market. We just did the hard bait one, so I thought why not follow it up with a soft bait one as well. Obviously there are gazillions of soft baits on the market constantly being flooded, and these baits that I chose today are really dope baits that are definitely kind of flying under the radar that I'm just gonna try to bring some light to. Maybe it's worth putting on your radar. So if you'd like to join me on the convo, let's go. Welcome to the Hookup Tackle. The Hookup Tackle is the world's largest showcase of megabass products, featuring baits and colors not found at any other dealer. The Hookup also offers a wide display of OSP, Evergreen, Deps, Lucky Craft, Jackal, and many more. The Hookup Tackle is owned and operated by family, is staffed by guides and verified tackle nerds who love helping anglers elevate their craft. If you're in the Phoenix area, we'd love to have you stop by our showroom and check out the wonderful world of megabass and the Hookup for yourself. If you shop online, there are almost 10,000 SKUs of megabass products alone, with hundreds of other companies and new products being added daily. So next time you're looking for that hard to find bait, that color your fish have never seen before, or maybe you just want to elevate your game, look at thehookuptackle.com. Welcome back, guys. I am Ben with the Hookup Tackle, Tackle Otaku on Instagram, being joined, of course, by my buddy Jeffrey the King. We're the Hookup Tackle USA. Jeffrey the King, hello.
Soft bait.
Well, I was going to make this kind of an under the radar bug bait episode for you. I'm saving that. I've got something special planned for that.
Honestly, I don't think any bug bait is underrated. I think they're all on the map. You know what I mean?
I figured you would say that. Right, so it's going to have to be a different style video for that one. Today, I grabbed a handful of plastics that are really cool plastics, but they just, for whatever reason, well, I kind of know the reason. A lot of these baits just are overshadowed by other baits in the category, right? But each one of these is kind of unique, and these have been fun videos because they've shed some light on some products that now have become like staples, right? So the Dull Live Beaver was a bait like this not too long ago, right? And now I think everybody in the world has a OSP Dull Live Beaver in their boat, right? So this would be fun. Some of these products are new. A couple of these have been out for a while, but they're all relatively on the new end of things. I'm just gonna jump in. You ready?
All right.
Okay. Let's start with our friends at Raid. Now, Raid doesn't have many things that are under the radar, right? Most of their stuff is just straight on the radar. We get it in, we sell it out, and everybody catches fish on it. But they have a couple of soft plastics that are still, they're super popular in Japan, but they're still so new here in the US that a lot of guys are just starting to figure them out or questioning what to do with them, right? And so we're gonna shed some light on a couple of those today. So we're gonna start right here. This is the Raid Japan Fishroller. Now, I have 2 packs because this is available in a 3-inch and a 4-inch size. I'm gonna talk about both sizes here. Let me start with the 3-inch. So the Fishroller is designed to be a bait that you're going to fish kind of like on a mixed jig head, right? Kind of B-wall rig as kind of a rolling style bait. You can fish it as a hover shot style bait, right? So here is a look at the bait. So it's a very lifelike fish look to it. It has these kind of real grooved, kind of natural fish scale sides to it. So it's gonna have a real lifelike look. It is also relatively hollow. So you can see that as you squish this, it's hollow in the middle, right? And then it's solid on both ends. So the reason for that is to give the bait a lot of buoyancy. It also works great as a hover shot, so it's gonna maintain a real horizontal posture. So if you want to fish it on a hover shot, you can. If you wanna fish it with a little jig head, like a little mixed jig head, it's going to keep its horizontal posture so that as you shake it, it's going to be able to go back and forth without that tail kind of sinking down. This is also a great one to use on a drop shot. You can fish it on a Ned rig. You know, Jeff and I saw firsthand a couple years back how deadly something like a 3-inch Hazardong shad could be on a Ned rig. So don't be afraid to try some of these minnow baits on a Ned. If you guys live up in Smalley country, they destroy them. But I think mainly you guys fishing the little biwa rig, hover shot, drop shot, that's really where this bait is going to shine. It's going to give you just a real nice natural look. Now, you can certainly do the same thing with this guy. This is the 4-inch size. It's going to fish exactly the same as the 3-inch size does. However, when you move to the 4-inch, give you a look at it. So it's going to have all the same stuff, right? So you're going to have that hollow inside, you're going to have the solid tail, you're going to have the solid head. So you can fish it exactly the same. You can drop shot it, hover shot it, put it on a jig head, and you're going to get that really beautiful finish. But we found that this is an excellent bait for using also as a chatterbait trailer. So here you go, guys. Here's a look at the 4-inch fish roller on the back of a jackhammer. So it fits great on a jackhammer. This is a stealth blade that I've just trimmed the skirt up a little bit, and it makes a great trailer. It's just going to be super tight, very lifelike. So there's a lot you can do with this bait, right? So give it a shot. Put it on your radar. Think about it next time you're looking for a bait. You can put it on a ball head, just something different on a drop shot, or maybe you're just always looking for something different to put on the back of a chatterbait. There's soft bait number 1, the fish roller from Raid. Let's keep going. Okay, number 2, since we just talked about drop shot, I'm going to jump over to this one. This is a relatively new brand in Japan. They're trying to make some big waves by doing big introductions in shallow lanes, right? So they're picking a product and they're doing a lot of colors and sizes in that product and really trying to establish it and then moving on to the next product. This is a company called Sunny Bros. Now, Sunny Bros, if you guys are part of the bento box, you would have got one of these a couple months back. Sunny Bros has a bait called the Drugstick. Right? Now, I know that name speaks to you, Jeff, right? The Drugstick is available in 3 sizes. There is a 2.8, there's a 3.8, and a 4.7-inch size. So there's different sizes depending on your needs. I'm just going to take one out here. Now, this has a very similar shape and look to something like, like the Rains worm, for instance, right? However, it's just slightly different. So you're going to see that it's a fully grooved worm, a lot like that Rains. It's got a really great buoyancy to it, but it's a little bit flatter up at the top, which allows you to, of course, you can drop shot it, how we've always drop shotted or always fished a bait like this. But because of that flatness and it's a little bit thicker and sturdier plastic up there, it also makes a great one to fish on a free rig. So free rig is becoming super popular out here. It's been really popular in Japan for a long time. This makes a great bait to just, it's going to give you a real kind of natural buoyancy where the bait just kind of moves and quivers. The hope is that maybe some of these grooves trap air, and as it moves, it's releasing some of that air, so you're going to get some bubbles out in it. It's just a real simple worm, right? So it's easy. There's a lot of different applications you can do with it. You could even use this as a jackhammer trailer too, or a chatterbait trailer if you want to, but really where it's going to shine is drop shot, free rig, somewhere in that lighter lane. You could, again, use it as a Ned because of that thicker head shape. You could Nico rig it. So any of that finesse soft plastic lane is going to be perfect for that. So there you go. There's number 2. And again, there's tons of colors as well. It's got that nice kind of like squiddy, shrimpy flavoring to it. So there you go. Number 2, the Drugstick from Sunny Bros. Let's keep going. All right, let's jump over to a creature. Now, Evergreen, probably one of our most popular brands here in the store. We sell tons of Evergreen, right? Tons of Evergreen. Shower blows, combat crank, flat force. But their soft plastics go super under the radar. And the biggest reason for that is it's pretty much a Japan-only offering. It's not blown up here in the US. There's not a lot of marketing push or anything behind it, but they make some amazing soft plastics. So the one we're going to talk about today, this is the Evergreen Kicker Bug. Now this comes in 2 different sizes. It comes in a regular and a Kicker Bug baby. Same exact shape. So you basically have a 4-inch and you have a 3.3-inch. Kicker Bug is going to give you just kind of a creature type option for you guys. If you like to flip, it's going to give you just a different look. You'll notice that every one of these appendages kind of has this little kind of ball at the end of it, right? That's going to cause each appendage to just quiver a little bit differently in the water. So again, this isn't like a totally new bait segment. right? There are a lot of baits that have a beaverish shape. This is designed to give you just something slightly different. So on the underside of the bait, it's got some ribs, so you're gonna get a little bit different flex out of it. On the underside of the appendage, it's going to have these kind of grooves, which is going to trap water and push water. On the top side of the appendage, it's got these little like bumps, so similar feel to like what a crawfish or a shelled, like a crustacean would have on it. So it's just going to give some different water pushes, some different vibrations than say something like a sweet beaver or whatever like creature type bait that you guys are using. So we all use that style bait, right? Maybe there's no reason to stop using your sweet beaver because you just keep catching them. But maybe they slow down, and just by changing it up a little bit, you give them a little bit different look. This might be a good alternative for you. So there you go. There's number 3 from Evergreen. That is the Evergreen Kicker Bug and Kicker Bug Jr. All right, guys, number 4 is actually going to be a tie because these baits are really close to the same. So I'm just going to talk about both of them really quick because they essentially do very similar things, okay? So here we go. We have the Noike Smoking Dad and the Deps MS Craw. Okay, now these are both small little craw baits. Technically the MS Craw is 2.6 inches and the Smoking Dad is 3 inches. But you'll see when we take them out, they're very, very similar in size. The craws are almost identical. Both of these made in Japan. Both of these are going to have, you know, proprietary scent. Noike is a relatively new brand to a lot of you guys. Yeah, they really pride themselves in having a special proprietary soft plastic that's got a lot of flavor to it. That's, you know, not really power bait, but that kind of idea, right? That as it goes in the water, it's releasing a scent. It's just going to give you a different flavor. Okay, so here's a look at the Smoking Dad. So you can see it's kind of like a speed craw style type craw to it, right? It has side appendages that are going to come attached, but you can unattach them if you want them to be unattached, so they have more action to it. You can fish this bait as a Texas rig, you can fish it as a free rig, but where this is really going to shine is as a little jig trailer. So if you guys are fishing, you know, a little jig like maybe a Deps headlock, something like that, throw it on there and I will show it to you as a jig trailer. Now these small little compact craws like this are great as jig trailers because they give you movement and they give you, you know, everything that you want as far as that little bit of tail kick without being too crazy. So you can see that's super finessey, right? It fits a little compact jig just perfectly. So, you know, this is the Deps headlock. You could do the same with something like a OSP Hunts Jig, right? They're all going to kind of do the same thing with it, but then you get just that little bit of craw movement, just that little bit of kind of flurry with it. So instead of a big exaggerated movement or a lot of movement this way, you can get just that little bit of flurry. It's going to be really lifelike. So it's a great option when the fish get picky and they slow down. That could do really good. So that's the Noike Smoking Dad, okay? And a bunch of colors in that as well. The other one is this guy. This is the Deps MS Craw. So I'm putting them together because they're kind of the same style bait. They're both in that same category as being small little craws and almost identical kind of at the back end here where you see those claws, almost identical, where it's just kind of a wedge. So it's going to cause them to just have that really tight little wedgy movement. Now, the MS Craw, you'll notice, is got a fully ribbed body here. So it's kind of got a thick front, a thick head, but then like a fully ribbed, very flexible body. Okay, this is going to be a really good one for you guys for like really short line drop shot. That's where this is really going to play. You can certainly use it as a jig trailer. You can free rig it. You can do a lot of things, but on a short line nose hook drop shot, what's going to happen is you're going to put your drop shot down here, or a jig rig would also be good, but on the nose hook, it's going to allow that bait to have that full range of movement, both side to side and up and down, while those claws are just kind of moving around. So if your fish are feeding on craws, of course you could throw a jig, you throw a Texas rig, Ned rig, all the normal things, but a lot of times by just going a shorter line drop shot, you keep that craw bait just above the surface, and it kind of falls down, and then it moves, then it falls down. And it's just a really lifelike way to do it. So again, 2.6 inches, it's not a big bait. This is definitely in the finesse realm, but it's something that I think a lot of you guys could catch a lot of fish on. It's unusual to see small finessey baits from Deps because we always think Deps, big baits, right? Big fish. This is one of those that definitely flies under the Deps radar because of its size, but worth a look. So that is the MS Craw from Deps. That's number 4. All right, and then bait number 5, we're going back to Raid. Now this is, without question, Raid's most popular soft plastic bait. We sell a ton of them, but it is still flying way under the radar as far as its use and its reach, right? Guys that know about this buy a lot. They're buying 10, 12, 15 packs at a time. But it's not selling to the numbers of anglers yet as something like a Dull Live Beaver or something like that, okay? This is the Raid EGU Chunk. Now, a lot of you guys just heard that and you went, oh yeah, I use that, it's a staple. And a lot of you guys looking at it and you're just thinking, it's a chunk, dude. All right, so I'm gonna take them out. I'm gonna show it to you. Now, these are available in a few different sizes. 3.5 inch and 4 inch are the 2 sizes out now. They have a new 3-inch size that's coming. That 3-inch size is gonna be deadly as a small little compact finesse jig trailer. But the 3.5 inch size is a great one for using on the back of like a normal jig. So if you guys are throwing like a Raid Master Jig, it's great, or an OSP Hunts Jig, it works great. The 4-inch size is a good one for using on its own. You can fish it, you can flip it, you can pitch it, you can use it on like a wobble head, but it's also kind of a super sleeper chatterbait trailer right now. A lot of guys in Japan are putting on the back of a jackhammer or chatterbait. They're getting a different motion. So I'm gonna rig them up and show you guys what this is gonna look like. So I'm just gonna take an OSP Hunts Jig. So this is one of my favorite compact jigs. We talk about this jig a lot, throw it a lot. It's just got a lot of versatility to it because it's kind of a hybrid round head slash football head. Put a 3.5 chunk. So I'll show you guys this chunk. So you can see that it's got these huge, very thick appendages back here. And the body is very, very flat, right? So you've got these grooves on the underside. You've, of course, got the little legs. Then you have these really big appendages. So this is just going to give a tremendous amount of water push. Water push is something that really is not spoken about much as far as like an attractor to bass. We talk about sound a lot, right? That, you know, they can use their lateral line to hear or their ears to hear, right? But water push is something that fish are used to feeling. Fish are used to sensing around them. That's why a bait like the Mag Draft is so popular, because it creates this draft of water behind. They can feel that push. That's essentially what this guy is designed to do, but in a craw form. So let me throw it on the jig for you, and you guys can see how it's gonna sit on the back of that. Okay, so here you go. So here's the 3.5 inch size on the back of a Hunts Jig, just to give you an idea. So you can see that it's got enough size to where it can go on a full-size jig if you're gonna throw on like a Dirty Jigs football jig, but it's small enough to where it also fits great on a little finesse jig trailer as well. So this is just going to give your jig a lot of presence, right? If you wanted it to be smaller and more compact, I'd probably put something like that Noike Craw in there, or a Dull Live Craw. But if you want it to have a lot more bulk, then by going to that EGU Chunk, just gives you a lot more volume. Now, the 4-inch size starts really going up in overall size and overall girth here. So you're gonna see this is a much bigger profile, right? So now you've got a substantial base. So this is one that you guys can absolutely use on a full-size trailer. You can fish it on its own. So it's a shorter body. So you're gonna wanna stay in like a 2/0 or a 3/0 style hook, a little bit shorter shank hook. But it's a great one on its own. But again, in Japan, they're using this right now a lot as a jackhammer trailer. Now, it will fit both ways on there, but I'm gonna rig it just flat ways so you guys can see it, and it just gives a really hard thump because of how thick those claws are. So again, all of us are throwing jackhammers, right? We're all throwing some kind of chatterbait in, you know, in pretty much all of our bodies of water. This is going to give you just a different look. It's gonna have a lot of thump. This is going to lift the jackhammer up as well. So if you're trying to keep it a little higher, but create a ton of thump with those claws, this is going to be a really good option. So again, I'm watching a lot of guys I know absolutely smoking them on this over in Japan. I think it's worth keeping on your radar and maybe just giving something different a try. So that is the Raid EGU Chunk. That completes our 5. All right, guys, that is a wrap. Hopefully that was insightful, and maybe I shed some light on a product that maybe you've been thinking about or on your radar, or maybe I just showed you something that you haven't even thought about before that's worth checking out. If you guys have any questions on anything that we discussed, drop them down below. I'll definitely get an answer for you. Jeff will leave links to the products. You want to check them out closer, you can. Again, everything on there I think is worth maybe just diving down a little rabbit hole and seeing if it has a fit for you. So on behalf of myself and Jeff and everybody here at the Hookup Tackle guys, thank you for your time. Thank you for your business. We appreciate the support, and we will see you again soon. So happy fishing, everyone. Peace out.